sorry, was on the Rams, and they played the 49ers. I messed that up.
But
yeah.
I think because he's a bit emboldened by that success that he's doubling down on.
Now he's trying to predict
his guy Carson
Wentz.
Yes.
Yeah. I
yes.
mean, come on. Take us Carson Wentz. We're fine. Trust me. He will throw it. If he plays 4 quarters, he's going to throw us at least 2.
At least 2?
And also plus.
A
little lanyap.
Little lanyap, yeah.
He'll give us one on the turf, a fumble. Bloop, 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 sack fumble.
Okay.
So
I
put it in the books.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And I hope there's no gree-gree hanging over the Broncos. No voodoo.
How is there going to be some gree-gree on the Broncos? I'm here to eliminate that. I went back home over Christmas. We're all good. Talk to the voodoo people.
Oh, that's right.
We're good.
You're good?
We're good. We're good here. Yeah.
Okay. Is it just me or, hey, guys, I'm running an hour late to work. Not that bad? See, this is the Sean critics did not like the fact that I brought some inconvenient truths to the conversation this morning. In case you missed it, right? You know, all this criticism about Sean as a play caller and all this and that. And I pointed out, you do realize that the Broncos have scored more points this year than McVay's Rams, Shanny's 49ers, McDaniel's Dolphins, Harbaugh's Chargers, and Reed's Chiefs. And so the Sean critics out there don't like the fact that, maybe this offense wasn't as bad as it's been made out to be. But
look,
and this is their way of getting around it. Hey, I'm running an hour late to work. Not that bad. Come on, people. Come on. Just I know you don't want to do it. But can you just maybe step back a little bit? I'm not saying Sean Payton's been perfect.
Right.
But considering the crap that landed in his lap when he took this job and moving on with a rookie quarterback, and you look up at the end of the day and they've scored more points, and all of a sudden now you're trying to come at me with, well, what about defensive scores? Where does that figure in? Hey, the Broncos were getting plenty of defensive points when they were averaging 19.7 points per game over the last 8 years. That wasn't all coming from the offense. There was plenty of defensive scores and special team scores there, and they were still only averaging 19 points per game. This year, they're at 24. And they've scored more points this year than all those other teams I just mentioned. And they got some defensive scores as well. So it is an apples-to-apples comparison. And when you make it apples to apples, you know what? Suddenly this Broncos offense under Sean Payton doesn't look that bad.
It's not perfect. Sean's not perfect. Obviously, there's been some mistakes. And you can criticize him for the 2-point conversion, not going for it, all that stuff. I thought he was fine in that decision-making there. And some of the timeouts and the challenges have been off. But, man, come on, 9 wins? Sitting at 9-7 right now. I mean, that's pretty dang good. 1 game away from going to the playoffs in his second year here with the rookie quarterback. I would say take a step back, take a deep breath. There's been more good with Sean than bad, especially with where the Broncos have been before he got here.
Let's bring in our guy, Mark Schlereth, who's in his chauffeured town car, making his way over to the Arizona Cardinals facilities. He's going to be calling Arizona and San Francisco.
Happy New Year, Mark.
You can't say that again.
Oh, wait. Huh? What? Well, I did that because Mark got so mad yesterday when I said Happy New Year to him. He said, well, how long is that going to last for? How many days can you do that after the New Year? So,
Stoke, we did our podcast after our show.
Right.
And he led with that as well.
Good.
As a complaint. It's clearly
yes.
Well, clearly I hadn't said Happy New Year to the podcast listeners, Mike. So
okay.
That was the first time. That won't happen again. I can guarantee you that.
Hey, you heard our conversation. You just jumped in right there. I brought some inconvenient truths to the Sean Payton haters out there who love to rip on his offense. And I said, you do understand that the Broncos this year have scored more points than McVay's Rams, Shanahan's 49ers, Mike McDaniel's Dolphins, more points than Harbaugh's Chargers, more points than Reed's and Mahomes' Chiefs. So maybe factor all that in and take a little bit more of a global view when you're criticizing Sean Payton's offense and play calling.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sean Payton. One, I heard Brant Stokes saying you did it with a rookie quarterback. By the way, you did it with no running back. You did it not with one bell cow guy. You did it with a host of different guys carrying the football and having no running game either. You don't have a tight end. And you had a bunch of young receivers, first-year receivers with Franklin and Ibele, and so, Mims is a second-year guy. Like, you did it with a lot of pieces that you didn't think were legitimate pieces to the puzzle. Like, everybody before the season started said the roster for the Broncos was one of the worst rosters in football. So, yeah, I mean, give him his props. He's done a great job with that offense, and this offense, with a rookie quarterback, has played really well this year.
Yeah, I think that's, you got to remember where we were before the season, what we were thinking about, where Vegas had them projected, all those things. And it's been a great step in the right direction. I mean, we can't forget where this organization was a few years ago with Nathaniel Hackett and having to move on from him and what happened his last football game. And then we had Jerry Rosberg, and who are you going to hire as your coach? And 2 years later, you're sitting here going into the last game of the season at home with a chance to go to the playoffs. I think that's pretty, I don't want to say remarkable, but it's been a big step in the right direction, and Sean has been the catalyst for that.
Yeah, there's only one criticism I would have, and this is it. This is the only criticism I'd really have. What if on day 4 of training camp, Bonus would have got 5 more reps?
Hit it!
Then where would we be?
Nice job. You just contributed.
Bam! Oh, well done, Mark.
That's so good.
Idiot.
That's so good. That's twice now. Twice today we've been able to extend the Zach By Sensitivity Smear campaign. Very good. Well done there, Stink. Stink, I think all these years of working with you and you being the player you were, always worried about what was going to go wrong, never being able to enjoy success, always Horton here's a who. I think it's rubbed off on me because I cannot lie. I am supremely anxious about this game on Sunday. I think too many years of watching the Broncos has scarred me to the point where I'm anxious. I just can't trust them completely as I sit here right now. How about you?
Yeah, I just, nervousness is just part of my makeup. When it comes to football things, I just get, I worry about stupid things like, all the rest of the guys are putting film out there, and Carson Wentz sees what has happened to other quarterbacks, and maybe this is his opportunity to kind of get another opportunity to be a starting quarterback in this league somewhere. And yeah, so I'm very much like, maybe I've worn off on you, Mike. I'd like to apologize for just my pessimism and just my naturally anxious kind of personality when it comes to football things, rubbing off on you and taking away your confidence. But Stoke is full of confidence because he went up to the mountains. And I don't know what the great elixir was up there in the mountains, but Stoke has been nothing but confident.
Yeah, you got to get yourself up to the mountains, Mark, a little bit more often. I'm just telling you. Y'all guys just got to relax a little bit. You got to take a step back and look at the big picture and look at this football team this year and what they've been doing. Sean Payton, hey, what did he tell us? That's not my hump, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a new team. Don't worry about what happened 5 years ago, 3 years ago. This is a new football team. We're playing the backups at home, and you can tell me all you want about Carson Wentz, Mark, and you've told us a lot about Carson Wentz, and you compared him to Sam Darnold, and you said this is going to be his Sam Darnold game, and next thing you know, he's going to be playing for whoever next year, and this is going to be this great story. Guess what? I'm not buying it. I'm not. They are going to get after Carson Wentz. And all these other guys that the Chiefs will be playing, they're backups for a reason. So I would tell y'all, just take a deep breath. Broncos are going to handle their business. They've been professional pros all year long, whether it's been good or bad. I think they're going to go about it the same way this week on Sunday against the Chiefs and handle their business. It's going to be okay.
Are you stunned? Are you stunned by Stokes'
anybody?
optimism?
Bueller?
Are you stunned?
Bueller? Are you getting out of your chauffeur car right now to go visit with Kyler? Like what? You going to see Kyle Shanahan? I'm about to meet with Kyle. Sorry guys, I'm getting called into Kyle's. What's going on, Mark? Are you there?
Yeah. Well, I was waiting for Mike to actually, I don't know, host the show. So I mean, I was waiting for Mike to host the show. I thought it was Mike's turn.
I know. I'm with you. Yeah, you got a good point there. You do. Mike, are you?
All right, so Mark,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. What? Are you going to ask me a question?
No, respond to what Stokes said.
I mean, again, that's Stokes' nature is to hey, last year was last year, and let this thing go, and we're going to be okay. I just don't I don't operate that way. I am nervous, and the Broncos should win this game. They should win this game, and they're going to start all their guys, and they're going to go for it. And this is where we sit right now, and I get it, and but I always get a little bit concerned, rookie quarterback and all those things. And you're playing against a Kansas City team, that's going to play a lot of backups, but also has really good coaches and has a coach in Spagnuolo that's an incredible defensive coordinator. So, I tend to be more nervous than Stoke. That's all right. That's just the way I'm wired.
I'll take over from Mike here, and I'll host for a second because he's just chilling out over there. We just want to give him a little bit more time to relax. Mark, but is there how do you think the Chiefs offensively will game plan for the Broncos? Do you think – because sometimes when you're in these situations, you say, you know what, we're going to be so conservative. We're really not even game planning here. We're going to run the ball. We're going to do some base stuff, and that's really about it. We're going to try to shorten the game because we don't want any injuries. And so we're just going to be very conservative. Or do you think they take the approach of, you know what? Who cares? We got Carson Wentz. We got these other guys that are having, really their first time playing. Nico Remigio will be out there for them playing wide receiver. I mean, you got some guys that haven't played a lot. So do you think they'll be like, okay, we're going to go out there. We're going to be really aggressive. Watch out for trick plays. How do you think they approach the game offensively on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty vanilla. They're going to try to run the ball. You don't want to show your upcoming opponents anything that you're planning on doing. Obviously, you won't do that with a bunch of backups anyhow. But I think it'll be pretty vanilla. Run the ball, set up your play action stuff. I think you will have to deal with some Carson Wentz run stuff, some RPO game. Where you're flagging that ball in there and deciding whether to handle the running back. Carson Wentz around the edge. He's a bit, he's the guy's 6'4" and 250. So you're going to have to deal with some quarterback run if you're the Broncos. That's going to be part of the game plan. But I'm with you, Stoke. I think it's going to be pretty vanilla for the most part. It's going to be one of those situations where, they're just going to try to shorten the game, eat up clock, and get out of there as healthy as they can. So I'm 100% with you on that.
Let me earn my keep here. Do you guys put any credibility into the idea that's been advanced this week is that the Chiefs want nothing to do with Joe Burrow in the playoffs? Even though they wouldn't play Joe Burrow and the Bengals right away, they just don't want Burrow anywhere, any remote possibility of being a threat in the playoffs, and for that reason, they'll completely toss this game against the Broncos. You guys buy that idea, starting with you, Stink?
Okay, so first off, they're 15-1. They've been the best team. They're back-to-back world champions. They've been the best team with arguably the best quarterback on the planet. Do I think they're afraid of Joe Burrow? No. Do I think they respect Joe Burrow? Absolutely. But do I think they're sitting there shaking in their shoes because they might potentially have to face Joe Burrow? If you get into the playoffs, you're going to have to face a bunch of good teams. Hey, by the way, it wasn't Joe Burrow that cost them their only loss this year. It was Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Also, the fact that you've got Baltimore in this playoff. So, do I think they're shaking in their shoes over a defense that hasn't played well all year and the Cincinnati Bengals and a group that can't protect their quarterback? No, I don't think they're sitting there going, you know what, we need to drop this game just so we don't have to face Joe Burrow. I think that's silly.
Yeah, you can't project, 3 weeks down the line. That's just the wrong approach. And Mark's right. I mean, the team they lost to is Buffalo. So if you look at it and say, okay, well, who's the one team they would want out? It would be Buffalo. So you would try to get, maybe Cincy in there to knock off Buffalo in the 7th spot, right? So I think if you play that game, you look too far ahead, especially when you're dealing with the playoffs and you try to figure out a matchup it usually doesn't work out, and that's too much thinking. And so I don't think that's the way they operate.
So you guys, as being the former players, tell me if I'm wrong, because here's the way I could see the Chiefs approaching this game. They go in with the best of intentions. Hey, we've worked all week, we've prepared, and we're a bunch of backup guys, gain a chance to go out and get an expanded role. Let's go make the most of it. But if the Broncos jump on these guys early, they'll all kind of think about, hey, the bus is over there, it's warm, and we've got a couple weeks off, and let's let this game get away. But if all of a sudden you look up and it's the end of the third quarter, you go into the fourth quarter, it's a 3-point game, you can feel the tension in the stadium. Now all of a sudden they're like, hey, let's go win this thing. Guys, do they have to? The Broncos have to jump on these guys early. Otherwise, the pucker factor inside that stadium is going to be ramped up exponentially by the time we get into the second half. Stank?
Oh, you always got to jump on. You always want to jump on teams. I mean, these guys play professional football. Like, I don't understand this. Like, oh, okay, we'll just fold our tents if the going gets tough. Like, that's not. I don't care what we're doing. We could be washing dishes. I want to whip your ass at washing dishes. It doesn't matter. So it's the act like guys aren't going to be competitive if the Broncos score a touchdown early is silly. Those guys are fighting for their jobs. They're fighting for film. They're fighting for potential opportunities in free agency. Like, yeah, I think it's important to jump on them early and stay on them. You can't ever let up because those guys are going to compete on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think it. Broncos are going to play 4 quarters, and if it doesn't start off great, okay, I've seen them come from behind. I've seen them have slow starts at home. They've been fine. I don't think the pressure's going to be too much for them, Mike. Broncos will be fine. Take a deep breath. You're getting way too caught up into this, overthinking this thing, and like,
I've
oh
been
my
around
gosh,
Schlereth. I've been around Schlereth for 9 years. I can't help it.
In the third quarter, the Broncos are only up by 3 points. Oh my gosh, they're going to lose. Deep breath.
Okay.
Let
me then raise the question that nobody wants to contemplate, but let's just get it out there, okay? What happens if they lose?
No, come on.
I got to ask the question.
Listen,
I have to ask the question. So, Stoke, I'll start with you, Mr. Positivity.
I'm not answering it.
What does it mean if they lose?
They're not going to lose.
That's not the question.
I can't even go there.
You're going to have to.
I'm not. I'm putting on my player hat right now, and I'm not going there.
If they lose on Sunday, is this season a disappointment?
I haven't even thought about it.
You're not even going to do it?
because they're winning. They're winning on Sunday. We're going to the playoffs, so I don't let negativity. Here comes my rust. I don't even let the negativity come into my mind.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Lose.
Okay.
I can't even process that.
Oh, okay.
Mark might be able to.
Okay.
Not me.
All right.
Winners wash.
All right. What about you, Mark?
We're washing.
Can you contemplate this question? What if they lose? What does it mean?
What does it mean? If they lose, it'd be incredibly disappointing, but we answered the question we needed answered before we started the season. We talked about this a bunch. What's the only question that really matters? What's the only thing that matters this season? Did you or did you not find your quarterback? And every one of us and every person in Denver has basically stated the same thing starting about 5-6 weeks ago. We found our guy. We found the quarterback. So, would it be disappointing? Yeah. Would it be the end of the world? No. I mean, after 2 weeks, you'd be over it. You'd say, hey, man, the future looks bright in Denver. Yeah, they got to address a few things. Yeah, we need to find a tight end. We need to draft a tight end. We need to find somebody there. But you look at the overall scheme of things, what's been developed, Riley Moss on the opposite side of Surtain. You see what they've done defensively, Nick Benito. You see what, the edge presence has been. A lot of great questions have been answered. Like, when you go into next year, you think you're going to be the 31st ranked roster in football?
Right.
Absolutely not. So you've answered a lot of great questions. It'd be disappointing, but it's not going to be the end of the world.
Okay. Good luck this weekend. Your final game of the season. You got San Francisco and Arizona. I know you love spending time with Kyle Shanahan, so enjoy your time this weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Give us a prediction. I was just going to say, give us a prediction.
Okay. Yep, we need it.
What's that now?
Prediction.
Oh, my prediction? Broncos 40. Can't see nothing.
Wow!
Yeah!
There he is! No more anxious Mark. No more nervous Mark. He's breathing in that Stokley Mountain air.
I love it, Mark. Hey, buddy, and have a great call, and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
You hot snot. Oh, you hot snot. I love that.
Yeah.
See you, Stink.
See you guys.
There he is. Mark Schlereth on the Johnson Auto Plaza hotline on his way over to the Cardinals facility. He's going to be calling Arizona and